the 20th of May 2026. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst's Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studio here in Colombo, bringing you tonight's bulletin for the Newsfirst team. I am Jayamal Ratnayaka.
And I am Theruni Karunaratna. Here are tonight's top stories.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
CID records key statement in France on Easter attack probe. Suresh Saleh named mastermind and contractor as France-based testimony reveals Pillayan links. Mahinda, Namal, Basil visited Pillayan after Easter attacks, offered bail assurance. Gota's former private secretary leads call for Saleh's release outside presidential secretariat. President says law will not be stopped by pressure or power. Hits out at elite resistance.
අපරාධ බස් දාලා සෙනග ගින්නේ. ඒවට නීතිය නමන්නේ නැහැ. නීතිය සමානව ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. තව බොහෝ දේවල් සිද්ධ වෙවි.
Chavara Sampath under fire for disrupting parliamentary work over court order row.
ඔබතුමා මම සභාවෙන් මේ ඉදිරි වැඩ කටයුතු සඳහා වාම
අරු කතා කරනකමනේ මේක මහා විහිළුවක් විත්තිකාරයා කතා කරන නඩුව ගැන විත්තිකාරයා කතා කරන මේ විපක්ෂ නායකලාගේ ආශිර්වාදයෙන්
Russia-China ties strengthen with new deals signed.
Taking a look at our top story for tonight, the Attorney General informed the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Namal Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa had visited Sivanesature Chandrakanthan, also known as Pillayan, who was being held at the Batticaloa prison following the Easter Sunday terror attacks that killed 278 people, and had told him that arrangements would be made to secure his bail within a week of Gotabaya Rajapaksa assuming office.
Appearing on behalf of the Attorney General, Additional Solicitor General Dilip Piris presented facts before court on the progress of the investigations into the Easter attacks and revealed a number of details related to the crime.
The Easter Sunday trial.
Former State Intelligence Chief Suresh Saleh, who is under detention orders in connection with the 21st of April 2019 coordinated attacks, was produced before court again today. The two other suspects currently in remand custody were produced via Zoom. Additional Solicitor General Dilip Piris submitted a 14-page report to court outlining the progress of investigations. He stated that the prosecution has uncovered evidence suggesting that the third suspect, Suresh Saleh, had acted as the mastermind and contractor behind the Easter Sunday attacks. Three officers of the Criminal Investigation Department, including Director Shani Abesekra, had travelled to France and recorded statements from Azad Maulana, who had served as the personal secretary to former State Minister Sivanesature Chandrakanthan, alias Pillayan. The report submitted in court today also included facts revealed during those statements. Excerpt.
Regarding the Easter Sunday attacks of the 21st April 2019, CID investigators recorded a statement last week in France at the official residence of the Sri Lankan ambassador from an individual named Azad Maulana, who had made statements to Channel 4. Accordingly, the prosecution has uncovered that the third suspect had acted as the mastermind and contractor of the attack.
End of excerpt. Dilip Piris further stated that Azad Maulana's testimony revealed that the third suspect, Suresh Saleh, had been planning since 2017 to obtain assistance from Zaharan Hashim and his group for a certain operation. Excerpt.
Your Honor, in 2017, a clash occurred between two Muslim groups in the Al-Liar area. During that incident, Zahran's associate, Zaini Maulavi, was remanded. At that time, Pillayan told him that there were 8 individuals ready to die at any moment. The third suspect became aware of this and believed that they could be used for a purpose. Since 2017, there had been plans to utilize this group. Among them were 6 individuals, including Zaharan Hashim, who later carried out the Easter bombings.
End of excerpt. The court also heard details regarding the visit by Mahinda Rajapaksa, Namal Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa to meet Pillayan at the Batticaloa prison following the Easter attacks. Excerpt.
Your Honor, after the Easter attacks, Mahinda Rajapaksa, Basil Rajapaksa and Namal Rajapaksa visited Pillayan. They told him that within a week of Gotabaya Rajapaksa becoming president, he would be released. They also stated that the third suspect would be brought back to Sri Lanka and be appointed as the head of intelligence. Furthermore, regarding the 2017 Aliyar incident, the third suspect intervened to provide 250,000 rupees from military intelligence funds for legal fees to secure bail for Zaini Maulavi, an associate of Zaharan. In addition, Pillayan arranged 50,000 rupees for the expenses of his family. The third suspect, a public official, maintained and protected these individuals until a decisive moment in 2019 for a political objective. Initially, plans had been made to target either a military group in the north or launch an attack in the south. Later, it was decided to carry out the attack on Easter Sunday, a highly sensitive day for Catholic devotees. He is a state officer. Investigators are currently examining on whose contract these actions were carried out by the third suspect.
End of excerpt. The Additional Solicitor General emphasized that military intelligence had been involved in maintaining both Pillayan's group and Zaharan Hashim's group. Excerpt.
Your Honor, the third suspect claims he had no links with Pillayan after 2006. However, after the attacks, he hosted a party at a hotel in Ahungalla for Pillayan, his family and Azad Maulana. This is recorded in the hotel logbook. Military intelligence had maintained both Pillayan's group and Zaharan's group using state funds. These are public funds. Furthermore, Pillayan's group, together with military intelligence of that time, had been involved in abductions and killings, including those of journalist Prageeth Eknaligoda, journalist Lasantha Wickramatunga, journalist Upali Tennakon, journalist Keith Noya, Eastern University Vice Chancellor Ravindranath, Tamil Sivaram, and many others.
End of excerpt. The Additional Solicitor General also informed court that he opposes to the third suspect, Suresh Saleh, who is currently under detention orders being produced before court. Excerpt.
Your Honor, the third suspect is under detention orders. At present, individuals are dying under mysterious circumstances. There is a threat to this suspect's life as well. Therefore, I object to producing him in open court. There is an organized group outside attempting to prevent this investigation from proceeding beyond this suspect. I also request that when the suspect is granted access to legal counsel, it be done under supervision. Additionally, the suspect has requested to make a statement before you under Section 127 of the Penal Code. However, it is possible that he is doing so to influence Your Honor's thinking, as he now understands the direction of the investigation.
End of excerpt. President's Counsel Shavindra Fernando, appearing on behalf of Suresh Saleh, stated that the statement given by Azad Maulana, who is currently in France, does not constitute admissible evidence. Excerpt.
Your Honor, the Additional Solicitor General extensively read out a statement obtained from Azad Maulana, who is in France. A statement obtained from any individual does not amount to evidence. It only becomes evidence after being examined and cross-examined during trial. Azad Maulana is not returning to Sri Lanka as he is subject to an open warrant in connection with allegations of bigamy. Furthermore, the channel to which he gave this statement, Channel 4, is a media institution that lacks credibility. My client seeks to make a statement before Your Honor under Section 127 of the Penal Code. I request that the recording of that statement be commenced today. He intends to make a lengthy statement and it may not be concluded within a single day.
End of excerpt. Meanwhile, through the report on the progress of investigations, the Additional Solicitor General informed court that Azad Maulana is willing to return to Sri Lanka if a guarantee of his security is provided. Dilip Papiris further informed court that Azad Maulana, in his statement, had revealed that under the instructions of Pillayan, records were maintained of all discussions held between Suresh Saleh and members of military intelligence and Zaharan Hashim's group, and that he possesses 5 notebooks containing such records. After considering the submissions made, Colombo Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasena stated that an order on whether the suspect Suresh Saleh, currently under detention orders, should be produced in open court on the next hearing date will be delivered on the next court date. The magistrate further stated that a decision on whether to permit the recording of a confidential statement before him will also be delivered on that day. The case was postponed until the 2nd of June.
The Easter Sunday trial.
In response to the claims that Nama Rajapaksa had visited Sivanesathore Chandrakanthan, also known as Pillayan, who was being held at the Batticaloa prison following the Easter Sunday terror attacks, the parliamentarian stated that his visit was no secret. In a post on X, the parliamentarian added that at the time, he was party to the alliance, contesting both the 2015 presidential election and the 2018 local government elections. Meanwhile, former private secretary to former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Sukishwara Bandara, along with several others, arrived opposite the presidential secretariat today, demanding the release of former state intelligence chief Suresh Saleh, who is currently being held under detention orders over the Easter Sunday terror attacks.
Sugishwara Bandara, the former private secretary to former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who arrived opposite the presidential secretariat at around 9:30 am this morning, stated that he intended to hand over a public petition. Two representatives from the presidential secretariat arrived at the scene and met with the group. Later, the police facilitated an opportunity for several individuals to submit their petition to the presidential secretariat.
जनता पेट्समात අරගෙන ඇවිල්ලා අපි ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ඒක දෙන්න කියලා අපි බල කරලා ඉල්ලලා කිව්වා. මොකද සැලේ වැරද්දක් කරලා නැහැ අපි දන්න තරමින්. මේ පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයේ මහමොලකරුවෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් ඌ අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්න අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඌට මරණ දඬුවම දෙන්න අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ.
President Anukumara Dissanayake today emphasized that even when individuals who once stood above the law react angrily as the law finally reaches them, the enforcement of the law will not be hindered in any way. The President made these remarks while attending the United Nations National Drug Prevention Program held today in the Batticaloa district.
We are bringing that era to an end. What power one held in the past, what privileges one enjoyed, or what their family background may be, none of that is relevant to the law. Everyone is equal before the law. However, when the law begins to reach those who once stood above it, they become agitated. They are not accustomed to respecting the law. As the law draws closer to them, they react with outrage. We are not alarmed. We hold no hatred or anger towards anyone. But we have a responsibility entrusted to us by the people to build a society where everyone lives within the boundaries of the law. Therefore, no amount of shouting or pressure can prevent the enforcement of the law. Even if groups gather around law enforcement institutions, it cannot obstruct the process. They will come to understand that. We have seen how crowds are being transported in buses linked to criminal elements. The law will not bow to such actions. The law will be enforced equally. Many more developments will follow. Our Criminal Investigation Department, the Colombo Crimes Division, the SDI and the Narcotics Bureau are all engaged in extensive investigations. Many arrests have already been made. Investigations are ongoing to arrest others. Legal proceedings have already been initiated in some cases and trials are underway. Every institution will be empowered within its legal mandate. The police have the authority to investigate. The Attorney General's Department has the authority to file cases. The judiciary has the authority to ensure fair trials. Each institution must exercise and safeguard its authority within its defined limits. No one will interfere in your investigations. No one will interfere in judicial processes. We have confidence that every institution will fulfill its responsibility properly. We have created an environment where you can work with integrity and independence. You are bound only by the legal framework that governs you. As President, I understand the responsibility entrusted to me and the limits of my authority. I will not exceed those limits. Similarly, you have been given defined powers through the law. Operate within those boundaries. If those boundaries are too restrictive for certain matters, we will expand them through legal means.
Opposition parliamentarian Chamara Sampath Dasanayaka disrupted parliamentary proceedings today, demanding permission for foreign travel, which has been banned by the court. Due to his continuous disruption of the session, the Speaker ordered the MP to be removed from the chamber.
The government of the People's Republic of China, through its Ministry of Commerce, has selected me to participate in a workshop for members of the Parliament of Sri Lanka. For this purpose, I need to travel abroad from the 25th of May 2026 to the 5th of June 2026. However, due to case numbers 42/359, 42/360 and 42/361 filed in the High Court and Magistrates Court by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, my passport is currently being held at the number 1 Alutkade Magistrates Court. Therefore, through lawyer Kalinga Indathissa, a motion was presented to the Honourable Court along with a letter from the Secretary General of the Parliament and the invitation letter from the Republic of China. Honourable Speaker, since the officials of the Bribery and Corruption Commission continuously object to this, once again for 1 million rupees.
ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා අධිකරණයේ තීන්දුවක් දීලා තියෙනවා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට සෝ කතාවටත් කිරීමට හැකියාවක් නැහැ ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ජනවාරි 9 වෙනිදා මම විසින් ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා රූලින් එකක් කරුණාකර කියවන්න ඔබතුමාට කතානායකතුමා අවස්ථාව දුන්නා ඔබතුමාට එහෙම බලයක් නැහැ ඔබතුමා නඩුවක විත්තිකරුවේ මහලේකම් නෙමෙයි ඊට වඩා ලොකු අධිකරණය ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඔබතුමාගේ මේ නීති විරෝධී අපහාසාත්මක ඇසුර කරුණාකර ඔබතුමා මම සභාවෙන් අයින් කරන එළියට ඔබතුමා මම සභාවෙන් මේ ඉදිරි වැඩ කටයුතු සඳහා වහම ගරු කතානායකතුමනි මේක මහා විහිළුවක් විත්තිකාරයා කතා කරන නඩුව ගැන ලේකම්තුමිය වහම මෙතුමා මේ ඉදිරි සභාව වැඩ කටයුතු සඳහා සභාවෙන් අවශ්‍ය කියලා මන්ත්‍රී කෙනෙක් ඉන්න කරන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ නාටකමක් කරගන්න එපා ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඔබතුමා මේ ලනු කන්න එපා ඔබතුමා මේ බොරු චෝදනා කරන්න එපා කතානායකතුමාට කරුණාකර මතක තියාගන්න අධිකරණයේ ඇල්ලුට්ලක් කිරීමට ඔබතුමාට කිසිම අයිතියක් නැහැ ඔබතුමාලක අධිකරණයෙන් බේර ගන්න අල්ලාස් කොමිසම කියන්නේ වෙනම ආතරයක් අපි නෙමෙයි කරන්නේ අධිකරණයට කරගෙන අතෙන්ට ගිහිල්ලා වාඩි වෙන්න චාවර මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඔයා ගිහිල්ලා වාඩි වෙන තමුසල තමයි අවුස්සන්නේ අහුන්සක මිනිහා තමුසල තමයි අවුස්සන්නේ විත්තිකාරයා උසාවියට විරුද්ධව පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කතා කරනවා විත්තිකාරයා කතා කරනවා මේ විපක්ෂ නායකලාගේ ආශිර්වාදයෙන් ඇතුලේ සහ මුලින්ම ඔබතුමා වැරද්දක් කරන්නේ මේ ඔබතුමාට බලයක් නැහැ අධිකරණය සම්බන්ධව කතා කරන්න පාගල දුන්නේ ඉන්න ඔබතුමාට පාර්ලිමේන්තුව වරප්‍රසාද පාවිච්චි කළා බෑ ඔයාව ගසා ගන්න යන්න එපා ඕක මේ දේශපාලන නායකයන්ට මේ හැලු ලක් කරන්න විවේචන ලක් කරන්න පාර්ලිමේන්තුව අභ්‍යන්තරේ ඒ වගේම අපි කනගාටු වෙනවා එතුමා ඔබතුමා ප්‍රාකර වාඩි වෙන්න මේක නාටකම් මඩුවක් නෙවෙයි කෝලම් මඩුවක් නෙවෙයි ඔබතුමාලා මේක කෝලම් මඩුවක් කරනවා සභාවට බාධා කරනවා කරුණාකර දැන් මම කිව්වා මේ නිවැරදි ආර්ථික සභාවෙන් ඉතරයන් කියලා මේ නියෝගයේ ක්‍රියාත්මක ඔබතුමා වාඩි වෙන්න සභාවෙන් පවත්වා ගැනීමට හැකිය මේ නියෝගයේ ක්‍රියාත්මක
The court today ordered that if there is evidence to prove that the group, including former Minister Vimal Weerawansa, behaved in a disruptive manner near the War Heroes Memorial in Batticaloa, they should be named as suspects and charges should be filed against them. The order was issued when facts relating to the incident that took place near the War Heroes Memorial in Batticaloa 2 days ago were presented before Kaduwela Chief Magistrate Aruna Indrajit Puttadasa.
The magistrate noted that merely submitting the names of individuals was not sufficient and stressed that adequate evidence must be available before anyone can be named as a suspect. Attorney at law Kamal Wijesekara, appearing for former Minister Vimal Weerawansa, informed the court that his client is willing to voluntarily appear before the court in relation to the incident. After considering the facts presented, the magistrate ordered investigators to conduct further inquiries into the incident and submit a report to the court.
The new public library building of the Batticaloa Municipal Council was ceremonially vested in the public this morning in the presence of President Anurukumara Dissanayake, with former Member of Parliament M.A. Sumandiran officially declaring the building open.
In parallel with the opening of the public library building of the Batticaloa Municipal Council, the official website of the library was also launched by the President. A key feature of the newly opened library is a dedicated unit designed to provide children with scientific and technological knowledge. Former MP M.A. Sumandiran, along with ITAC Member of Parliament Shanakyan Rasamanikam and Sri Lanka Muslim Congress MP MLA M. Hizbullah, were among those present at the event.
When I was informed that the President had been invited to this library opening, I immediately knew that he would definitely attend. You have often spoken about the Jaffna Public Library. Even recently at the Kamban Festival, you referred to the practice where visitors remove their footwear before entering the Jaffna Library. I sincerely thank the President for attending this occasion. In addition, I also greatly appreciate the invitation extended to me by the President to unveil the commemorative plaque. You affirmed that there would be no return to war. We also accept that statement. It is indeed significant when both sides come together and express such an understanding.
We are aware that the Batticaloa Municipal Council has been elected by the people of this area and is currently governed by the TNA. Therefore, I consider it a special honor to have been invited to inaugurate this building under its administration. I once again extend my gratitude for that invitation. The Mayor has submitted 3 main proposals. The primary proposal is to complete the remaining work of this building. I believe that the necessary financial allocations will be made in the next budget for that purpose. There are also 2 other proposals which have already been submitted to the National Planning Department for approval. These proposals need to be reviewed and endorsed through that process. I will ensure they are forwarded accordingly, and subject to their approval, those proposals will also be duly considered.
The President also joined an inspection tour of the new library building and engaged in a cordial discussion with the staff of the Municipal Council.
Weather first.
Theruni, as the inter-monsoon gradually establishes itself across the island, what changes can Sri Lankans expect in the coming days regarding the weather conditions?
Jamal, I think it's now time for us to turn our attention to today's weather update. We have Martin Sathanesan joining us with more of the details. Martin?
Thank you, Theruni and Jamal. With the southwest monsoon gradually establishing itself across the island, the Department of Meteorology says periods of rain can be expected in the western Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces, as well as in the districts of Galle, Mathura, Kandy and Nuwara. In some areas, fairly heavy rainfall exceeding 50 milliliters is likely. Meanwhile, in the Uva province and in parts of Batticaloa and Ampara districts, showers or thunder showers may occur in a few places. The department further notes that fairly strong winds reaching speeds of 30 to 40 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the central hills, as well as in the northern, north central, as well as in the northwestern and southern provinces. The department also urges the public to take necessary precautions to minimize risks caused by temporary strong winds and lightning associated with thunder showers.
Weather first.
Sticking to more local news, Sri Lanka has launched a digital seed system to transform its agriculture sector.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Land and Irrigation, together with the Department of Agriculture and with technical support from the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, has launched the Cropics Seed Production, Certification and Traceability System, marking a significant step toward modernizing Sri Lanka's seed sector through digital innovation. The system enhances seed production and certification processes by improving transparency, efficiency, traceability and coordination among stakeholders across the seed value chain. It forms part of the broader crop resources optimizing operations through precise information exchange system, or Cropics digital agriculture platform, supporting national efforts to build a more resilient, efficient and farmer-centric agricultural sector. The newly introduced Cropics seed system addresses these challenges through an integrated platform linking seed growers, seed handlers, laboratories, field officers, administrators and other agricultural systems. It enables real-time monitoring of seed production and certification activities, improves access to reliable information, reduces duplication and supports faster verification and approval processes. It also ensures a consistent flow of data from field registration through certification, laboratory testing, seed availability and distribution.
Cyclone Detwa struck harder than we ever imagined. But we moved into action even faster than the force of the disaster itself. Relief. We did not stop at providing relief. Recovery. Our mission was to restore and rebuild their livelihoods. Rebuild. With proper training and certification. Beneficiaries in the Nurele district were empowered with sewing machines, laptops, and other essential tools. Gamatha. Rebuild Sri Lanka.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that development cannot be understood only through policies and economic models, but rather must be grounded in the everyday lived realities of people and must remain accountable to them. She made these remarks while delivering the 2026 OSGA annual lecture in London during her official visit to the United Kingdom.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya is currently in the United Kingdom for an official visit. During the second day of her visit, the Prime Minister delivered the 2026 OSGA annual lecture titled The Politics of Development, Sri Lanka and Beyond at University of Oxford. Addressing students, academics and researchers at the Oxford School of Global and Area Studies and across the university community, the Prime Minister reflected on the intersections of development, governance and politics in Sri Lanka, with particular focus on women's political participation, the care economy, social justice and the challenges of translating public movements in long-term institutional reform. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya is scheduled to participate in the 43rd Commonwealth of Learning Board of Governors meeting.
In a historic milestone for workplace safety and corporate responsibility, the Capital Maharaja Group officially established its first ever batch of certified CMG first responders during the inaugural First Responder Certificate and Badge awarding ceremony.
The Capital Maharaja Group officially established its first ever batch of certified CMG first responders. Initiated under the guidance of the chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group, Sashi Raja Mahendran, this customized program was developed following several rounds of detailed discussions and was executed in close collaboration with the Sri Lanka Saukyadana movement. The program consisted of 3 comprehensive sessions conducted in February, including essential practical and written examinations and viva evaluations.
This is the first time in CMG's history we have successfully conducted this inaugural first responder certification program, officially establishing our first batch of certified CMG first responders. It was actually initiated under the guidance of our chairman. This program was developed following several rounds of detailed discussions and was executed in close collaboration with Sri Lanka Saukyadharani movement. I think this is a wonderful beginning, and if you see the list of areas where they have got trained, it runs into so many line items. I'm sure this was followed by an examination. I'm sure all of you must have equipped themselves.
Demonstrating CMG's commitment to safety across all organizational tiers, the program drew 46 participants. Following the strict evaluation standards, 36 employees successfully met all performance benchmarks to earn their official first responder certification and operational badges.
The official launch of the community-based maternal mental health enhancement program in Galle district, organized by the Institute for Research and Development in Health and Social Care, was held in Galle yesterday.
The official launch ceremony of the community-based maternal mental health enhancement program in the Galle district, organized by the Institute for Research and Development in Health and Social Care, took place yesterday. The event marks the official launch of the pilot study titled Feasibility, Acceptability and Preliminary Outcomes of a Community-Based Maternal Mental Health Program for Perinatal Depression in Sri Lanka. The event was organized with the objective of implementing the Thinking Healthy program at the community level to manage mothers' mental health.
On tonight's World News, Russian President Vladimir Putin is currently in Beijing in what is considered as his 25th visit to China.
Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin have also signed a joint statement on further enhancing the comprehensive strategic coordination and deepening good neighborliness and friendly cooperation between the two countries. To tell us more, we have Thinal Tilakaratna. Thinal.
Yes, thank you, Jamal and Theruni. Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping hailed ties with Russia as a force of quote-unquote calm amid chaos during a meeting with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in Beijing today, days after Xi hosted President Donald Trump for a landmark US-China summit. Now, Xi alluded to an increasingly fractious international situation and took a veiled jab at the US. He sat down with Putin in the Great Hall of the People for meetings kicking off the Russian leader's state visit in the Chinese capital.
Chinese President Xi Jinping held a formal welcome ceremony for Russian President Vladimir Putin outside the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. The ceremony featured a 21-gun salute fired at Tiananmen Square, while a military band performed the national anthems of both China and Russia. The visit marks Russian leader's 25th visit to China. Following the welcome ceremony, a signing ceremony between Chinese leader Xi Jinping and his visiting Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin took place in Beijing. In their opening remarks, the leaders emphasized strengthening ties and cooperation between Russia and China. Putin told Xi that even against the backdrop of unfavorable external factors, the interaction and economic cooperation between the two countries demonstrate strong momentum.
Chairman Xi Jinping and myself had an exchange of opinions on actual international matters, which resulted in a joint statement confirming the very close positions of our two countries. Most importantly, Russia and China are committed to the sovereign and independent of international policy, working together to stabilize the international situation. We work together in the name of peace and prosperity. In this logic, Moscow and Beijing solidarily act in favor of international legislation and defending the UN Treaty and all its cohesion. We interact intensively in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, BRICS, and other international organizations, making a solid contribution to the resolution of international and regional problems. Russia supports the priority of China's chairmanship in ATES Forum. We are ready and willing to do everything it takes to assist in their realization. Right now, I would like to thank my friend Xi Jinping and our Chinese colleagues for hospitality and great organization of our visit. I am sure that this visit will further strengthen the Russian-Chinese friendship and contribute to the well-being and prosperity of our nations. Thank you.
Addressing Putin, Xi lauded the unyielding relationship between China and Russia.
We must develop high-quality international cooperation, reforming and perfecting our global governance. This world is far from being calm. The damage imposed by unilateral actions and hegemony is off the scales. It threatens to bring us back to the law of the jungle. In this sphere, I would like to propose the concept single fate for humankind in a global initiative that enjoys wide support from the international community, including Russia. Being permanent members of the UN Security Council, Russia and China will show themselves as responsible world powers, protecting the authority of the UN and the world's justice, countering any manifestation of unilateralism and any attempts at reversing history, provocations aimed at denying the outcome of World War II, trying to revive the ghosts of Nazism and fascism. We're ready to work hand in hand on forming a new, more rational and fair system of world governance. The world towards prosperity. The great Russian-Chinese friendship is in line with the demands of time. We will move forward steadily, confidently, and relentlessly, achieving new great heights. Thank you.
China and Russia are also celebrating the 25th anniversary of their 2001 Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation, which resolved long-standing border frictions and ushered in a new period of cooperation. Putin and Xi have also renewed plans for a natural gas pipeline between Russia and China, though no details about the project or a timeline for its completion have been provided so far. After the talks, Xi and Putin attended a signing ceremony in which China and Russia concluded 20 agreements covering trade, infrastructure, media, film, scientific research and talent development. The agreement also included a technology cooperation agreement under the trade framework, a sustainable trade and urban cooperation agreement, and an anti-monopoly cadre training agreement. The two sides also signed a media cooperation joint activities agreement and a film intellectual property cooperation agreement, reflecting growing collaboration in the cultural industries.
In more international news, the New York Times is reporting that the early war goal was to install hardline former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad as Iran's leader. It is reported that an Israeli strike designed to free Mahmoud Ahmadinejad from house arrest in Tehran was part of an effort to bring about regime change and put him in power.
Days after Israeli strikes killed Iran's supreme leader and other top officials in the opening salvos of the war, President Trump mused publicly that it would be best if someone from within Iran took over the country. It turns out that the United States and Israel went into the conflict with a particular and very surprising someone in mind: Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the former Iranian president known for his hardline, anti-Israel and anti-American views. But the audacious plan developed by the Israelis and which Ahmadinejad had been consulted about quickly went awry, according to the US officials who were briefed on it. Ahmadinejad was injured on the war's first day by an Israeli strike at his home in Tehran that had been designed to free him from house arrest. He survived the strike, they said, but after the near miss, he became disillusioned with the regime change plan. He has not been seen publicly since then, and his current whereabouts and condition are unknown. To say that Ahmadinejad was an unusual choice would be a vast understatement. While he had increasingly clashed with the regime's leaders and had been placed under close watch by the Iranian authorities, he was known during his term as president from 2005 to 2013 for his calls to wipe Israel off the map. He was a strong supporter of Iran's nuclear program, a fierce critic of the United States, and known for violently cracking down on internal dissent. How Ahmadinejad was recruited to take part remains unknown. The existence of the effort, which has not been previously reported, was part of a multi-stage plan developed by Israel to topple Iran's theocratic government. It underscores how Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel went into the war not only misjudging how quickly they could achieve their objectives, but also gambling to some degree on a risky plan for leadership change in Iran that even some of Trump's aides found implausible. Some American officials were skeptical in particular about the viability of putting Ahmadinejad back into power.
The murky shark cave where 5 Italian divers were tragically killed in the Maldives has been seen in haunting new footage as fresh theories behind their deaths emerge. Maldivian authorities are also investigating multiple other possible factors behind their deaths. 4 bodies were discovered at a depth of 160 feet following a grueling search operation by expert Finnish divers.
The bodies of the 2 remaining Italians who went missing while diving in the Maldives have been successfully recovered, concluding an extensive multi-day operation involving Maldivian authorities and international diving experts. The recovery effort, which ended on the 20th May, marked the conclusion of a large-scale search operation led by the Maldives National Defence Force Coast Guard, the police service and a team of experienced Finnish technical divers dispatched by the Italian government. The Divers Alert Network Europe, which deployed the Finnish divers, described them as technical and cave divers with experience in search and recovery missions, including operations in deep overhead environments, confined spaces and high-risk scenarios. Government officials confirmed that all 4 victims were located inside a cave system where they had been diving. The recovery process was carried out in stages, with 2 bodies retrieved the previous day and the final 2 recovered on the 20th May. Chief Government spokesperson Mohammed Hussein Sharif stated that identification of the bodies is currently underway. He added that authorities are coordinating with the Italian government to repatriate the remains to Italy. The search operation began after the Maritime Rescue Coordination Centre received a report at 1:45 p.m. on the 14th May regarding the disappearance of 5 Italian divers. The group, which included an Italian diving instructor and 4 tourist divers, had failed to surface at the expected time. Following the report, the MNDF launched a comprehensive search operation by both sea and air. The first body recovered was identified as that of the diving instructor. The 3 Finnish divers who led the recovery operation brought extensive international experience, having previously taken part in similar underwater recovery missions across several countries. The expedition that ended in tragedy was led by Monica Montefalcon, an associate professor of ecology at the University of Genoa, along with research fellow Maria Odenino. Their work focused on studying the effects of climate change on tropical biodiversity. Also among the divers were Montefalcon's daughter, Giorgia Somaco, a student at the university and recent graduate at Federico Gualtieri.
We now move to the world of sports, where passion meets performance and every moment counts.
Joining us once again is Martin Sathanesan. Martin.
Thank you once again, Theruni and Jayamala. Taking a look at sports today, attention to the women's under-19 T20 series between Sri Lanka and New Zealand. The series is set to get underway tomorrow at the Rangiri Dambulla International Cricket Stadium. Let's hope the heavens stay kind to sports tomorrow.
The T20 series between Sri Lanka and New Zealand women's A teams will consist of 3 matches. Players from both teams took part in training sessions today ahead of the series. The first match is scheduled to begin tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bangladesh have completed a 2-0 series win over Pakistan in their test series, securing a 78-run victory in the second match. In the match played in Sylhet, Bangladesh posted 278 all-out in their first innings, while Pakistan responded with 232 runs. In their second innings, Bangladesh were dismissed for 390 runs. Chasing a target of 437, Pakistan were bowled out for 358 runs. With this win, Bangladesh achieved 4 consecutive test victories for the first time. They had earlier defeated Ireland 2-0 in their previous test series.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for joining us.
Good night.